Hi there, welcome. Welcome to Homekeepers. Come right on in, my friend. Grab yourself a cup of tea. This is going to be such a good program. I think everything about it is excellent. My guests are excellent, and you're going to freak out at this recipe, I promise. Just stay tuned. But I hope you're having a good day and that you're experiencing the goodness of the Lord. My guests are Robert and Lori Evans, and they are a great blessing to this network, and we will talk about that when they are on the set with me. But they were on with me before, and I went back to look at that interview, and Robert is a victorious cancer survivor. And all of us here at the network watched him go through that with his wife by his side. And I looked at that interview today, and the one thing they said about going through all the surgeries and the chemo and the radiation, that they made an agreement to look for the goodness of the Lord. And boy, that stuck with me. And so I want to give that to you today. Just look for the goodness of the Lord in these situations instead of always looking at the downside. If you haven't met them, you will love them. They have a program here called Christian Fitness, and I'm certain that a lot of you have seen that, but also you don't know that they've put a whole other network on the air. We'll talk about that. It's called Lifestyles. We might need an hour today, but we don't have it. And I think everybody in this building is going to be happy. Going to fix something I've never ever heard of, but it's called a Slab strawberry shortcake. It's a big one, and perfect, you know, for a lot of occasions in your life. So when we put it together, you'll see what we mean. One good thing about living in Florida, we always have strawberries, and they are cheap. So we're fixing a wonderful, wonderful recipe for you today. And I've got a new offer for you called 199 Promises of God. I've been flipping through this, and I was talking to our director, Gary, before the show, and I said, I'm going to carry one of these with me. It's going to be in my purse from now on. I was just going through it, and I gave him one too. You go through it so quickly, and the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Jesus Christ. There's one. But the mercy of the Lord is from everlasting to everlasting upon them that fear him, his righteousness unto children's children. I mean, 199 promises of God. I think you're going to want this, and it's yours for any amount. Hope you'll make it as good as you can. Any amount, any gift, financial gift to the program, and we'll get it out to you. You can order it the way I order things, through the mail. Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida, 33758. Or you can order it the way Stephanie orders it, and that's online, right?
Yes.
Or the 800 number.
Yeah.
I think you will want this one, though, so I would order early if I were you. Okay, this is going to be a good one, huh?
This has a cup of butter and 2 cups of whipping cream in it.
She's just having a moment. When we put our fingers in the whipping cream, that's the moment.
So good. Okay.
It's a big one. See,
yeah, so
see how big this is?
Yeah.
That's the size.
We're going to make a lot of people happy today. So you have 2 eggs and 2 cups of whipping cream you're going to mix up for me.
Okay.
I have 3.5 cups of flour. I have a 1/2 cup of sugar. Oops. Well, I should wear an apron here, really. It would probably be wise. 1/2 cup of sugar.
I think of all the things I should have looked up before we come to the program. I wonder who invented strawberry shortcake.
I do not know, but I love them.
We should honor them.
Yes, that I had guessed this last week. This is 5, let me get it right, teaspoons of baking powder. That's a lot of baking powder. And a 1/2 teaspoon of salt.
When it's finished.
And then a whole bunch of cold butter that I'm going to cut in. Anyway, I had guests last week, my brother from Pennsylvania, and I asked them what desserts they wanted, and strawberry shortcake was on the top of the list.
Yeah, in Pennsylvania, they might not be able to afford the strawberries.
Yeah, right? They ate well, I can assure you.
But you know, when you were gone and we did a show, we talked about that.
What?
The kind of things that we do here, and you're right on top of everything.
Not always, but I try.
Yeah.
Lots of note-taking these days. That's what's happening.
Well, we talked about the fact that you were having company.
Yeah.
And I went in her office. I said, what are you going to fix? Because you've heard her talk. You know, she'll cook up meat for 10 months and put it in the freezer, something like that.
10 months.
And she pulled up on the computer exactly what she's going to feed her
I
company.
had a whole menu plan that they could pick from.
was right there.
I had all the dinners. I'm like, every day you can pick what you want for dinner.
That is so smart, because then
Yeah.
you can really enjoy your company.
Right. And then I didn't want them to feel like they had to. I'm like, if you don't like any of this, you won't hurt my feelings. And I didn't want to make something they didn't like. I didn't want them to feel like they had to eat out all the time.
You're the kind of hostess I would like to.
Okay.
I'd like to be a guest.
Okay.
Okay. This is really big, my friends.
This is like huge.
I was thinking this would be so great for a church supper, but you'd have to be careful.
I'm putting the wet and the dry.
Would you want to maybe take
sister, there's a whole egg in there.
Oh, God. Oh, sorry. I wonder
You
whose fault that
failed.
was. If you took this to a church supper, though, would you kind of bring the whipping cream and the strawberries on the side?
Oh,
and then
yes.
add it just when you get there.
You'd be so popular, I promise.
I think this would feed your Sunday school class easily.
Oh yeah, this makes a really wet dough, and all I'm gonna do is ungreased cookie sheet, and I'm gonna pat it out on there.
And it comes out pretty thick because
Yes.
this is the size.
Yeah, this
of a
one's
pan.
actually a little bit bigger than that one, so it's gonna be a little bit thinner, but it'll still be great.
Oh yeah.
This is a arm muscling dough. So you're gonna get the slab cake, you're gonna get the strawberries, you're gonna get the whipping cream. Arthelene is the whipping cream
Now here's the
queen.
finished one.
Look at that. It's like
just
old
beautiful.
time strawberry shortcake.
It is.
It really is.
Do you know one thing I don't like are those spongy things sometimes
I
they
don't
use.
mind those, but this is gonna be ridiculous.
And we whipped the cream ahead of time, and you should be thankful. For some reason that mixer
was
was so
so
noisy.
loud.
Okay, you just put this on and then the
Yes, and
strawberries
spread
on
it.
that.
Yep. Yep. So I'm gonna get my hands wet because this is really a very sticky mess. While you make that beautiful.
Do you know, sometimes we fix something and the guys from the back, you know, our audio guy, our director, those kind of people, they come in here.
Yes, they do.
And sometimes they don't.
Sometimes the ones that I spit food out in the garbage usually that no.
They're the ones who
they
avoid
usually
it.
don't. Yeah. No, we have to tell them, like, especially after this one, just stay there until we're done. It'll be here for you.
Well, I'm very suspicious of those frozen toppings they have. I'm not sure what they're made of.
Yes, well, they'll tell you plastic, but
Yeah, petroleum.
yeah.
But I was telling Stephanie this morning, I remember how the wonderful, wonderful summers I spent on my uncle's farm.
Oh,
and
yes.
they milked the cows. I never learned how
Is
to do
that a slotted spoon?
No.
Okay, don't get the juice. Okay?
We don't want the juice,
Yeah,
okay.
just kind of drain it, yeah.
I never learned how to milk a cow, but I do.
Which is something I would love to see, is Arthelene Rippy
Oh, yeah.
milking a cow.
Probably at this late date,
That
it
would be
won't happen.
amazing.
Anyway, I do remember how rich and thick that cream was. You really do need a slotted spoon on
Yeah,
here.
and you need to get your palms in this and really get it pressed down. It's really a thick batter, but look, it's absolutely beautiful. A
This is a
spatula.
spatula, but it might get rid of some of
There
that
you go.
juice.
I should have made this for my guests. They would have been so happy.
Oh, and back to my uncle's farm.
Oh, yes, go
Yeah, back to
there.
my uncle's farm.
Yes, go
We
back.
made butter.
Oh, yummy.
And
You're not going to get any better.
It's different.
You're not going to get any better butter.
It's different than the butter you buy in the
Oh,
store.
for sure.
Boy, I remember. Who gets to drink this juice? That's
Yeah, somebody who needs a major sugar rush. Who needs a sugar rush? Come on. Okay, you want to taste it?
yeah.
Yeah. This needs to be pressed out a lot more. And it will be.
Oh,
And this bakes for about, 20 minutes at 3
Well, how
something?
many- how many people will this?
400. You have 30 seconds. Go, girl,
Yeah,
go.
Yeah. How many people will this feed?
Well, it depends. How many Stephanies will it feed or how many Arthelene Rippies will it feed?
Ooh,
Because that's totally
goes.
different. This will feed 5 Stephanies. It will feed 20
Oh,
Arthelene
I'm having a
Rippies.
moment now. Here you go.
Thank you, I'm a mess, but
Let
I'll
me
take
tell
a
you,
bite.
it's just
I can't wait to try that.
a
Base.
wonderful strawberry shortcake. That's all it is.
Yeah. It has whipping cream in it. I mean, come on. I'm trying not to make a mess here. I'm covered in cookie dough.
And I know you want this recipe. Information's coming up on the screen. Absolutely free. We'll get it to you. Now, stay with me. I'm sure a lot of you know Rob and Lori, but if you don't, you're going to love them. Stay there.
If you would like a copy of today's recipe, you may receive it by contacting us through social media as listed on the screen. When requesting a copy through the mail, be sure to include a self-addressed stamped envelope. Thank you, and please know we always appreciate hearing from our viewers.
I am delighted to welcome back to Homekeepers my good friends, Lori and Rob Evans. We're so glad to have you, and I've said it to many people here, and I love these people here. Great people. I feel you've been such a blessing to the network. I really do.
Thank you.
Now, we're going to talk about your condition. You look like the bloom of health to me.
Feel great. Yeah, I feel fantastic.
And if you didn't hear them before, I really want you to hear about this testimony, because I've noticed families that have been raised in the faith, and they got faith for everybody else, and then when it hits their home, sometimes the faith is forgotten. It's just forgotten, and there's panic. And to watch you go through this it was a blessing to me. But also, these people, they sit in the same office and astound me, and they're still married. I mean, you're together all the time.
Best friends, it's easy. It's easy when it's your best friend.
We love being together.
Yeah. Have put a whole network on the air that you've probably never heard of, but it's something I think everybody needs to know, because there's probably a lot of people out there, you know, the thousands, you kind of have statistics on that, people who use an antenna. And this is what Lifestyles is. So try to explain it to someone like me.
Well, first of all, it's called Lifestyle. It's CTN Family Television. So it's programming that's family friendly. It's predominantly Christian. I would say probably 80% of it is Christian themed. We run Christian movies. And then the other program, we have some home improvement programs and things like that may not be Christian, but they're just good, wholesome family shows. We run some old, black and white shows and things like that, but just all good quality programming. You don't have to worry about watching it with your kids. The whole family can watch it.
All of the programming.
Yeah, we really look over all the programming.
We know that there's nothing on there that shouldn't be on there.
Right, so
and you sit in the office and determine that, and I think people have no idea how often those kind of things turn over. So you got to find something for this slot right here, because we had to move this. I'm astounded that they sat in that office and created a network. I still don't know how that works, but congratulations.
And you have to constantly get new programming. A lot of programs, they'll only produce 13 episodes. Well, that's 1/4 of the year. What do you do for the other 3/4? You can repeat it once or twice, maybe 3 times, but then what do you do? So yeah, we're constantly looking for new programming and trying to find movies. That's why we run some of the old stuff. We run old Dick Van Dyke and things like that, because I mean, it's still classic messages.
I still love Andy Griffith. I'm sorry, I'd rather see that than
I completely agree.
But when I walk by your office, you have a big monitor there where it's on, and it's just such.
A lot of it
it's
is
beautiful
apologetics.
network of the programming.
Yeah, it really is. It's well, that was the thing. It's a blessing for us to do it, but it's also a blessing for the viewer, because they get to see something that is, we are filled with the Holy Spirit. So we aren't human garbage cans. We don't want to watch, and we don't want people to see that. We don't want people to tune into something that maybe they shouldn't watch. There's just so much choice out there, but so we like it that people make a choice and let us know that they watch the Lifestyle Network.
2 great partners I'd love to promote. Answers in Genesis and Cross-Examined are 2 of my favorite shows that we air. One's a creation, one's an apologetics show, but phenomenal, incredible programs.
Yeah.
So yeah, but you can watch it online.
And she has to find these.
Right.
Things that we haven't heard of.
We actually have a fishing show that the gentleman that hosts the show, and actually it's through one of our other affiliates, he's a Christian. He preaches the gospel, and I love the show. Well, I like fishing anyway, but it's a fantastic show. So it's clean, wholesome. There's a pastor that does another fishing type hunting show with a co-pastor, and they're great too. I mean, it's good programming. But yes, it is a challenge finding good stuff.
You mentioned it's on antenna. It's also online.
Yes.
Online,
Yeah,
yes.
ctnlifestyle.com, so anyone across the world can watch it. But then it's also over the air via antenna too.
So I might have viewers who don't
have cable.
Friends, they don't have cable.
Yeah. That's how they find
if
it.
if you just write to me or whatever, I'll give you the mail.
Forward the email and we'll respond. Yeah, we respond to all the emails ourselves, you know.
Yeah, because you told me one time, just in this kind of Tampa Bay area, or maybe it's the county, how many thousands of antenna viewers there are.
And they're growing because a lot of people elect to not have cable or some type of satellite
gets expensive,
Yeah, and all of our affiliates except for 2, we have 2 more that still don't have the Lifestyle Network
coming
yet.
soon. Coming soon to Tennessee, so stay tuned.
Yes, to Tennessee.
And it's a wonderful network. You can just really believe that. Also, you have where did I see those people? You saw them on Christian Fitness, and that's a program that's gone on for several years. But you have a brand new set now that is just beautiful.
Yeah.
Another thing we had fun doing together.
What's amazing is around here how we put together a set on such a shoestring, and yours is just.
We believed God.
Lovely.
We would pray and say, Lord, we need this, and it would happen. We either find it here, or somebody would help us acquire it. We had a lot of our lifestyle viewers and our Christian Fitness viewers, because we've been around for 11 years. They donated to help build that set.
A couple construction companies donated cabinets and things that we used, and then we found old sets here that weren't being used that we tore apart and rebuilt them, and had a good time.
The people around here are pretty amazing. They kind of create something out of nothing sometimes. I want to talk about your recovery and your walk through after you get that dreaded C word, they call it, the cancer. And how was it 3 years ago or more that you were diagnosed?
About 2.5 years ago that I got diagnosed.
And so I was sitting in the front row watching this, and there's so much that just was a blessing, but I didn't know how you could do it. They started out with chemo before surgery.
Right.
Yeah.
I watched you lose weight. You're not
Radiation.
exactly overweight right now, but
Still haven't gained my weight back, but it's coming.
and
Muscle. But,
the chemo had reaction, burned your feet and all this, and I would watch you, and some of your hair was gone. You came to work almost every day, and I would just sit back and wonder, and I never heard anything negative from either of you.
Well, that was probably one of the most important things that we made a decision. You know, you can either magnify the Lord or you can magnify the problem. Right. And for us, it's like I said the last time we were talking about this, and we've talked about this many times before, it's if you look for the goodness of God, you will find Him. But you can see all the circumstances and all the people around, and it's a choice. And that is a faith walk. To look for God and magnify Him and look at all the things you've seen Him carry you already through. So, I mean, for us, it's like, what are you going to magnify?
How important was it that the two of you were right in sync?
Vitally important. If you, when you go through a struggle like that or a battle like that, I mean, there were days when I felt so bad that it's kind of hard to even explain this, but you can't even pray. You feel so, but you're laying in bed and you just finished a chemo treatment, and you can't even pray. You're just so down. You need a lovely praying partner, wife, minister, pastor, layperson, whoever it is that can lift you up. There were times when she would, even in the office when I'd be at work and didn't feel good, but I'm not going to sit home, so we came to work as much as we could. She would look over and she would just know that he's not doing well. She would just walk over, lay hands on me, and just start praying for me. And to have that, and that was the relationship that we had, that she was able to see that and do that for me, is just remarkable. So you've got to have somebody strong in faith. Yes,
yes, it is supposed
and
to be.
I was so glad to see you demonstrate it. I said at the opening of the show, because I'm a preacher's kid and a preacher's wife, and know the Christian world very, very well, and you can see these people. I call them the families of faith, and they got it. But boy, when it hits them. A lot of time the fervency of serving the Lord and believing Him is just kind of like the air goes out.
But that's when you think about that we go through trials, whatever they are. And the Lord doesn't have anything to do with the trial, but He has everything to do with the victory. Right. And when you know who you are in Christ, and the only way to do that is to be in His Word every day, and to know that is a promise, like those 199 promises.
Yeah.
I have given so many of those books. You lead somebody in the Lord, that's one of the best things. If you can't give them a Bible, give them one of those.
That's why I said I'm going to put it in my
just
purse.
bless people.
But I think
When
that's
you're in
the
traffic.
key. Yeah, and stuck. But that's the key, is knowing who you are and knowing who you can go to. I mean, God is there for us. I mean, you know, we heard somebody say yesterday, what was it that Mike said? He said,
Mike Gonzalez, you know, our station manager down in
Yeah.
West Palm Beach, he said, when you're called, when God calls you, that means Jesus is telling you come here. That means he's already there.
already there.
So when you step into your calling, Jesus is already there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
a fact that, you know, oh, I'm going out, oh, I'm afraid to do this or do that. Why? If Jesus called you, then he's saying, hey, Arthelene, can you come over here? That means he's already
with
there.
you.
He's waiting for
yeah.
you to get there. So when you
That's
walk
good.
into that, is that powerful? So when you walk, so thank you for that, Mike. But anyway, when you walk into that,
Yeah.
Jesus is just there waiting.
I think, and that's part of the, you know, when you have people that you're around, we knew you were praying for us every day. I mean, you would, I know you said one day, if you ever want to cry, come in my office. Well, you
She
know,
never did. She
no.
never did come in and cry.
No, because that for me would be the opposite of the faith that God's given me. I mean, we've been through cancer before. We went through what we went through with me, and I knew, don't look at the circumstance. Look at what God has given you, what He's there with you, going through, and yield to that. Yield to the Word. Yield to. And the other thing, and I think we talked about this one day. We were in your office, and I think he and I were talking about this. It's, if you think about what Job's wife did, she opened her mouth and said the most horrible thing ever. And I mean, if you think about that, wives, a wife is to be part of helping, we're helpmates. We're there to lift up our husbands. We're there to help pray, have faith, lean on the Word, all of those things, but we have to watch our mouths.
Yeah, I
And
think
that's
you're
so
right. I always
important.
had a little bit of sympathy for Mrs. Job because she'd lost 10 children.
Maybe so,
might have had a
but,
bad day.
but what she said to her husband in doubt,
That was
that's
inexcusable.
Powerful
you
in the
can't-
wrong way.
Exactly, and that's where, you know, death and life is in the power of the tongue. We have our mouths to speak faith, to speak the Word, and edify someone else and build them up. And my job at that time was to be with him, to help him in whatever capacity, whether it meant just sleeping in the same room in the hospital room or whatever it was, but to constantly keep him in faith. Because I remember what it was like to not know how to pray for myself at one time, and he prayed for me.
And keep your mind renewed. You talk about the tongue a lot,
yeah.
but keep your mind renewed. Look at, you know, stay in the Word. Stay in the Word. Don't go online and read, you know, here's the 2-year diagnosis, here's the average after 3 years, because
Don't
by
do
then you're like, oh
research.
my gosh.
Some people think they're surgeons because
Yeah, do
they've
not
been
look at MD
online.
Web or
Yeah,
any of
don't
those
do
things.
that.
Don't
Now-
self-diagnose. Just go to what does the Word say? It says, by His stripes I'm healed.
That's what he said.
That's right.
Now this question is because something I noticed, and I want the viewers to get this because we have viewers walking through the same thing.
Oh,
Right.
sure. Yeah.
You seem to have an instinct, or you talked about it, to be a blessing
Yes.
to the medical people. And
Absolutely.
let me tell you something. Anybody going through chemo or going through Moffitt, which is a big cancer clinic here, they could probably use some encouragement.
Absolutely.
And did you talk about that, or it was just a natural outgrowth of
It's just
what
what,
you
we
believe?
do. I mean, that's who I think
I know
that's
you
who
did
we
it.
are.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But and I think the other thing is everyone at some time goes through something, whether it's just a bad day. I mean, to someone that cuts their finger, that's something bad for them. Everybody goes through something. So the key is, and we've learned this, when you love on people and you focus on what they're going through, what you're going through is minimized. And to me, you glorify the Lord when you go and love on somebody and encourage them and help them. So
I think
for us, it's important to do that.
Any medical situation, think about being an encouragement when you're in
To
there, whether
somebody
it's
else.
a cancer ward or whatever. Usually
Yeah.
spirits aren't real high then, and if you just think about this, what can I do to give the encouragement of the Lord?
Our last visit, the doctor, we spent a lot of time with him because he had great news. They had found some fluid they were a little concerned about in one a report 6 months sooner, earlier, and then this last report, he said, we looked everywhere, we couldn't find anything. So he was just overjoyed. So we spent a lot of time just talking to him, ministering with him, because, I mean, you think about...
He had just given someone else some really horrible news.
Really,
He had a
really
few
bad
in a
news.
row where he had to give them
Yeah.
bad news. So you can imagine how that weighs on him. He's got a calling that he wants to see people healed. He wants to help people, and yet he's got to go in that room and say, hey, you know, I've got stage 4 diagnosis, blah, 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 I've got to tell you this. So he would, can you imagine that, being that burden all day long and then going home to your family? So anyway, we were like his last appointment, so we spent some extra time with him, and
He just hung
we had a
out with us.
blast.
It
It was
was
so
funny.
much fun to talk to him and
Well,
encourage
they
him.
probably, in that situation, don't get a whole lot of encouraging.
Well, that's the other thing you can do. Encourage the staffing, the nurses, the people that are helping others, because they see that every
day.
day. And it's up to us, all of us, to encourage someone.
Someone that really made it clear to me years ago, my dad had cobalt treatments. I don't know if you remember that or not. It's probably what killed him. He did have cancer, but they don't do cobalt anymore. And he said it was like walking through the halls of eternity with these people with their downcast and discouraged, and
Yeah.
some of them obviously had no hope. And I keep going back to the people of faith. You got to have that faith when the storm hits you.
Yeah.
And just a simple smile. I mean, when you're walking, you know, going in for the chemo treatments and you're wearing the portable bag that you had to wear for a few days, still being treated anyway. So you're walking with that bag and you can see another patient, you can smile at them. They see, wow, he's got the bag that I'm about to get or get installed or that I'm wearing. Wow, and then they're handling it. So yeah, any encouragement you can be. Open the door for somebody, smile at somebody, just love people.
I know, because we're living in a time of so much animosity.
Anger and hatred, yeah.
Anger and hatred, and
But it's the love of God
Yeah.
that leads one to repentance. It's the love of God that encourages someone. So, I mean,
what better time
Yes.
than when they're having
Yeah.
chemo or when they've had a bad diagnosis, that just say, look, God hasn't gone anywhere.
No, he's still
in charge.
He's
That's right.
still with you. He's still there, and he's just waiting for you to talk to him.
Well, you have been an inspiration in my life on
Thank you.
many, many levels. So gifted, but to watch the absolute consistency of faith and believing God. They're both of them are miracles. Both of them are cancer survivors. We need to revisit she's got a testimony that'll blow you out the door, but we'll do that down the road somewhere.
Be
But
nice.
thanks for being with me. I just love it. When I have a big prayer request, I go in their office, and they're always sitting on go, ready to pray. We should all be like that. So hope you'll join me next time. Please remember, there's no higher calling than that of a homekeeper. God bless you.
If you should miss a Homekeepers program, you can catch up by going to www.ctnonline.com. Click on CTN Programs and then on Homekeepers.